Alright, so welcome to Hydreigon's. As most of you already know, we are in Unnerf season. As most of you know, for the past few days, the Unnerfs have been slowly rebuilt, and today is the day where we already have all of them. A lot of cards got changed, most for the best. A lot of people have mixed feelings about them, and so do I. So I will try to do a quick review on what I think the Unnerf cards. How do I think they will perform in the meta? If the Unnerf matters, if it doesn't, and if it will be something that's healthy for the meta game or not. Alright, so first we have the first batch. I found an image with all of them. Thank you to Imic for putting together these images. They are very well made, very well crafted, an amazing work of art he did with these images. So for the first day we had Druid, we have Hunter, and we had Mage. Druid got two cards back that everyone was expecting, not because they were going to be impactful, but because exactly the opposite. Even on Nerf, these cards are not going to be impactful. 7 mana, draw 2 cards, does nothing for Druid. Druid can draw 5 for 7 mana. A 5/5 on top of that is not probably something Druid wants to play. But who knows, you maybe play this in Spiteful Druid. Maybe. It's on Nerf now, so you can experiment with it. Keeper of the Groove goes from a 2/2 to a 2/4. It could have gone to a 4/4, 4 mana 4/4 silence, and still will have C play, honestly, because Druid cannot play low mana minions because of, you know, the 4 mana recruit card. But yeah, it's nice that it's no longer a terrible card, just a bad card. What another great. Now for Bran, we already knew that Bran was going to be changed back. They announced with the nerf that Bran was going to be changed back, and honestly, I had fun with Bran at 8 mana, playing it in even Hunter. It was a fun experience. The deck was of course not good, and Bran to 7 mana is overall above, even if he can be playing that deck. Because the earlier you can get an 8 air charge with a 2/4 on top of that, the better for Hunter, of course. The absolute most impactful card of this will be Starving Buzzard, of course, a card that was nerfed like 7-8 years ago. I honestly have lost track of time. But yeah, Starving Buzzard going back to a 2 mana 2/1. Honestly, the stat line doesn't matter at all because it's not a card you play for tempo, it's a card you play for refill, a card you play for drawing, a card you play to enable your combos, a card you play everywhere because there's just so many ways to draw with this in Hunter. You got Alicat, you got Wolper Tinger, you got Halassi the Links, and all the other link generating cards, and the locus generating cards. There's so many ways to generate beasts in Hunter. Hell, there's even that 6 mana card, Swarm of Locust, that summons 7. So yeah, the possibilities are infinite with this card. So going forward, Hunter will be a lot different. Going forward, Hunter will have a lot of decision making when it comes to being able to make a deck, which previously it didn't have, because not having the option to draw in a class overall, it's really crippling for that class. And now that Hunter finally has a powerful draw engine, well, you know, the class is instantly so much better now. So yeah, Hunter goes from not being a class in Wild to being a kind of a class. Flare to 1 mana is also, I have 50% discount on the mana cost, and honestly it doesn't only support Hunter, it also supports any deck that can run Zephyrs, because as everyone knows, Secret Mage is the strongest deck in the meta, well below Dark Lair of course, but Secret Mage is very prominent in the meta. You see a lot of mages, like 30% of your matches are going to be against mages. So yeah, every hunter deck is going to want to run flare, because even if you don't run into a secret image, even if you don't run into a deck playing secrets, it's a 1 mana draw one, which is pretty useful. It's pretty good. That was the reason it was nerfed to begin with. Next we have Hunter's Mark. And honestly, everyone wanted Hunter's Mark to go to 0 because Hunter doesn't have any 0 mana cards. But yeah, the reason they didn't go all the way into 0 mana was because there's a chance that most of these cards can be in the core set, except for, of course, the ones that are not classic or basic, although who knows, maybe. And of course, they don't want to be changing these cards constantly. Players should be countered by counterplayer. Yeah, a few months back, we were talking that Flare should probably be changed into a minion, a 2 mana minion that does the same Flare does, maybe except the draw, so it doesn't get countered by counterplay, because it's silly that a card that's meant to counter, secrets doesn't counter secrets that well, because counter spell exists. It's very silly. But yeah, it's 1 mana now, so at worst it's 1 mana deactivate a counter spell, or 1 mana deactivate all secrets that are not counter spell. Hunter's Mark is, I mean, it's playable. You maybe play one copy of this in Odd Hunter if you are, running into a lot of towns and whatnot. I don't think it's going to be played, but it's nice that it's back to 1 mana at least. Now for mage, of course, Dragoncaster. Dragoncaster at 7 was unplayable. At 6, it's mostly playable. Of course, for LPG mage, and I don't think there's any other deck that plays this seriously. Maybe Jogbox decks, if that's ever a thing. Conjurer's Calling, 3 mana, means that overall the card, instead of costing 8 over 2 cards, it costs 6, so it's actually a 2 mana buff. I'm not sure if there's a deck that plays it. Meowth said that it was played in Odd Mage, but that's not really a deck that exists. But who knows, maybe we see Gigant's Mage or something. I don't think so, but there's the option. Now, Mana Worm, this is interesting because they shown that they are willing to revert cards, but also not fully, and be able to change them in a way that they were not like that before. Mostly because they want this to be suitable for, standard if they ever decide to put it in the core set. So Mana Worm, instead of a 1/3, it's a 1/2, but it's 1 mana. And I think you still play this in pretty much every aggro mage deck. People say, oh, 2 mana is too easy to remove. Well, that's true. But, Demon Hunter plays basically this card. Of course, Battle Fiend has a different, a snowball mechanic, because you can almost guarantee that you're going to attack. But Mana Worm can, ramp several times during the same turn, especially in Secret Mage. You draw a secret for 0 and you play that, and whoa, you should only have a 1 mana 3/2 and a secret in play. That's very strong if you ask me. So on to the next day. Here we have the Unnerf from the second day, and we open up with Nikrion Apothecary. I do not like this change at all, because Nikrion Apothecary is not a flexible card. It's a card that gets played in only one deck, and it's the Scam Big Dragon Rogue deck. This is a combo-ish kind of scam deck where if you play Nikrion Apothecary on 3 or 4 with the combo, and you can activate the Dead Dragon with your weapon, you instantly summon 8 dragons from your hand and win the game, or you don't and lose the game. I don't like, scam decks like that just lose if they don't draw the combo, or win if they draw the specific combo. Then we have Blade Fury, and again, it's not a direct on nerf. So what Blade Fury did before, it destroy your weapon, and deal damage to all enemies. And now it got changed back to 2 mana, but only minions. Actually, I predicted this, that this should be what they do with the card. But I was not sure if they were willing to, do sideline reverse to cards. Playing like they did because, well, Blade Fury is a very interesting card that at 4 mana just was borderline unplayable. And now it's a 2 mana and it's playable again. And a lot of people are worried about this in Kingsbane, but like, this doesn't make Kingsbane stronger, it just makes it less worse in some matchups. But running the card is going to feel very bad in the other matchups. Not above is a tech card that Kingsbane got. But other decks that run Weapon in Rogue now has the opportunity to run a board clear. So who knows, maybe you play the Oldon Quest Rogue with this and you get a 5 mana 3 damage board clear. That's not bad. Especially because it's only one card, because the weapon you can just recruit it with the hero power. Then we have Call to Arms, going back to 4 mana, and this, a lot of people were on the fence on this, because Call to Arms is very, very, very strong. Not only in Standard, but it was also very strong in Wild. And not precisely because of even Paladin. Of course, the option to play in even Paladin still exists, and maybe the deck will, be resurrected now that it got its win condition back. But it's the card. This is a card that, in a way, I'm glad go reverted because it's so versatile in what it can do that a lot of Paladin decks want to play this. It's a very strong play that you might actually play this in Libran Paladin because the swing turn you get from this plus the fact that you trim your deck, this puts non-odd Paladin back in the radar because right now the only playable deck Paladin has is actually Odd Paladin. So then we have the colors below, and this is the most controversial change so far. Colors below was a very polarizing card when it, was released. And even after it was nerfed, it was still a very polarizing card. Because you will 100% lose against aggro, but you will 100% wins against control. Combo is more a toss up depending on the combo and how well they can, kill you before you kill them. But 4 minions is actually very, very easy to complete. And you can do so with only 2 cards. It's very polarizing, and that's why people are so iffy about this change. But I think the meta is going to be way too fast for this deck to be, prolific. And I'm not quite sure if this can actually beat Rasa Priest. But only time will tell. I'm not that scared of this card as other, you know, streamers, YouTubers, celebrities are. Elwin, we already knew it was going to be reverted, right? They announced it. Nobody actually cares. Nobody plays Elwin in WoW. Of course, Potsifro exists. And who knows what crazy combo enablers slash synergies exist in the future. So who knows, maybe at some point Elwin will be playable in WoW, and at least by then it will be a 3 mana card, so, well, who knows. Next we have Galakron the Nightmare, going back to drawing 0 coast cards, and this one is very cool because Galakron the Nightmare actually enables a lot of combos and shenanigans in Rogue that you are always, pleasant to have the option to have that kind of shenanigans in that class because I feel that's the real identity of Rogue as a class. To do some wacky combos, so, well, yeah, you get the idea. Maligos Rogue, Pilfer Rogue, Reno Rogue in Wild, all those decks love this card. So yeah, Galactic Nightmare being back is very nice for a while. It was very oppressive in Standard. I hated playing against this in Standard. But in WoW it's pretty balanced. Playing 7 mana to draw 4 cards is not going to, win the game. You have to get there alive. And last but not least, we have Priest with only one on Nerf, which is Power War Shield, going back to its former glory. This is not a card that breaks priest. And I'm not sure how often Rasa Priest plays this card, given they don't actually stick minions that often. But yeah, it's nice to have this card back because it also opens the gates for other priest decks to be successful, namely rally decks, combo priest, not Rasa combo, the inner fire combo priest. Next, we have the third day of Unnerf, and we kick off the third day with Galakron Shaman Unnerf. Everyone was predicting most of the Galakron Shaman cards to get Unnerf, and of course this was the first one that came to everyone's mind, because at 6 mana this card is unplayable, but at 5 is more, you know, forgiving. Maybe you can play Galakron Shaman going forward, and this is the premier card for that because it bugs twice. And this is the card nobody was expecting to be reversed because this card is very fucking strong. Like the stats on this card are so insane, and you can get it active with only one Galakron card because it bugs twice. I mean, at this point, while it's not broken, but it's actually quite balanced now to deter a bit of the aggro power that the meta has, because summoning two humongous taunts on turn 5 can really win you the game against most aggro decks, and can very especially you know counter Kingsbane, because if you play a big taunt against Kingsbane just gets fucked. Although they have Blade Fury now, so maybe it's a balance situation with that. Next we have Flametone Totem. I got the mana wearing treatment. I mean, right now we have Evil Totem, and Evil Totem survives most of the time. But this is not a card you play, on curve most of the time. You try to play this card to maximize the amount of damage you can do with it. So in that regard, having two, having one, having three health doesn't matter that much. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Of course, this is a straight up an even Shaman buff, and Shaman deserves to have a few couple strong decks in the meta. Next, we have Invocation of Frost, which was straight up a power creep on Glacial Shard. Cool, Glacial Shard is a card that's playable right now. And to counter Kingsbane Rogue and Odd Rogue and sometimes even Demon Hunter. So yeah, freeze is a very strong mechanic, and having a freeze effect on top of a 2-1 that's on top of that a rush minion. And even better, you can run 4 glacial shards. Freezing is a very versatile effect that is very strong right now in WoW. Spirit Claws. I knew Spirit Claws was going to be on Nerf, but I knew the price we were going to pay for it. And of course, this change, if we still had the spell damage totem, was going to be insane. But we don't. And now it's dead. So yeah, Spirit Claws is back. But is it really? Galakron Warlock Lul. So yeah, back to the real Galakron winner here, Scion of Ruin. The payoff card for Galakron Warrior gets back to 3 mana, and this is also pretty huge. And Galakron Warrior right now is not a bad deck. It's a deck they play a lot in China, by the way. And that we now have a few menagerie, package going on, kind of archetype. And the thing that archetype yearns the most is early game dragons, and this is a quote unquote early game dragon. Galakron Menagerie Warrior becomes a tier 2 deck. Maybe Galakron Bomb Warrior with this card becomes a tier 2 deck. And I'm glad because I actually like Scion of Ruin. Bloodsworn Mercenary. This doesn't change anything, as the only deck that plays Mercenary right now is ETC OTK. Well, who knows? I'm sure someone will find a way, even if it's a meme deck. I'm glad they have the option to. And now one of the cards that absolutely blew everyone's mind. Charge. It gives charge. Again. It's not rush, it's not bad rush. This card used to be so dumb in wording and what it did. Raging Worgen OTK. Why are you playing Raging Worgen when Crab Rider exists? Are you out of your mind? Crab Rider does the same. I have more health. Crab Rider OTK. With Charge and Bloodsworn Mercenary. That's what you're looking forward to do. Get a few Crab Riders, get them buff, copy them, attack your opponent for like 1,000 damage. At first it was like, ooh, no, charge again. But like, who cares? This is just like a okay-ish win condition for slower warrior decks. But it's nice that they actually had the balls to bring this back. And it makes sense. Charge is a very toxic mechanic in standard. But knowing Wild likes to be wild in that regard. Wild likes to kill you from hand with an insane combo, and this is exactly that. Killing people from hand with an insane combo. And I'm all up for that. Good job with Charge. Now we have the neutral on Nerf and the last batch. And the first one, an old favorite of course, Bad Luck Albatross. Back to 3 mana, back to being playable. Premium stats for the cost. Every single odd deck going forward is going to run this because fuck Rasa Priest, fuck Warlock, and fuck Mage, and fuck Big Priest, and all those lame decks, fuck them all. I like this change, I'm going to play it. So the Queen of Highlander is also back, and I think nobody actually cares about this. Because most Highlander decks are not going to play this. This costs 9 mana to play. Rasa Priest doesn't play this unless Rasa gets nerfed. LPG Mage play this. They actually do. They are probably the only deck that plays this actually. In the case of Warlock, Warlock also doesn't play this. But Rhinolog is so, versatile in what it can do that who knows, maybe they do, maybe they end up playing this. And in Wild there's a lot of bad dragons by the way, so don't get too excited about it. Play two favorite dragons. Yeah, exactly. When you play DKH, when you play Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, you are going to play two favorite dragons all the time. Bone Mare. Honestly, Bone Mare was way overdue for this on Nerf. Like, at this point, it doesn't even matter. You're not going to play 7 mana Bone Mare. Are you? Nah, you're not going to play 7 mana Bone Mare. It's a buff to evolve effects because it means that 8 mana now has less bad minions, 1 less bad minion. That's something. But yeah, nobody's going to play Bomber, but it's good that it's not nerf anymore. Now Elysiana, this is a nerf to Elysiana because who plays Elysiana? Only Odd Warrior plays Elysiana. Nobody else is going to play Elysiana. Games don't go into fatigue unless you actually are looking forward to doing that, to forcing your opponent into fatigue. But the decks that do so have a better win condition than Elysiana. Like Jade Druid has Jades. Deadman Hand Warrior has Deadman Hand. Nobody plays Elysiana outside of Odd Warrior. Odd Warrior sometimes doesn't even play Elysiana. So I'm not sure. I mean, they don't play Elysiana because it was 9. They don't play Elysiana because the Bar Cry is not useful to them. So yeah, this is a nerf. Like, nobody's going to randomly start playing Elysiana. And Regis Kilvin said otherwise. Like, dude, have you played Wild? Who goes into fatigue? Yeah, I hope they revert this change because it's so bad. Or make it 7 mana, nobody cares. Now we have Frenzied following a card that got forgotten by time. Like, I used to play this in like Even Hunter back in Galacron 1 year ago. And then it got nerfed and never saw play. And now it's too late for it. Like, nobody's going to play this as a 3-3. It's not strong enough. Like, maybe in Even Hunter you tried it again, but Even Hunter right now has a lot of better things to do, especially with beasts, not demons. Saturday Night Shengan, they finally did it. They unchanged the gang. How long can this go on? You know, I don't like to quote Regis Kilvin twice, but he was very mean to Shorewood Shaman. He was saying something like, "Oh, Shorewood Shaman is just a meme, and this won't do anything." Like, of course it will. You don't want to play 5 mana for this effect. You want to play 4, and it's a taunt. Like, this card is so good in Shorewood Shaman. It's not going to make it tier 1, but because Shorewood Shaman can't be tier 1, the day Shorewood Shaman is tier 1 is the deck Hearthstone went to shit. And in the other department, in the handbuff department, well, handbuff Paladin is like a fringe deck that exists. Handbuff Paladin used to be a meme because buffing your hand is so slow. You have to buff your hand and then you have to play those and then you have to wait and then you can do something with them. But now that Rush exists and cards that give Rush exist, actually handbuff is a lot better. I mean, we see that when what's it called? Mech Poly was meta for a couple months. It was a handbuff deck. Handbuff Paladin is actually a fringe deck that is a couple pieces away from being playable. And this makes it a bit more playable. Then we have Arcane Golem. Back with charge and being a 4-2. This card is weird because it still gives your opponent a mana crystal, right? But it has charge. What deck plays this? Like, it's a good finisher. Some decks already play Wolf Rider, and you could play this instead of Wolf Rider. I meaning, like, very face out decks and whatnot. Like Out Rogue and Out Hunter. Would you play 3 mana 4 to charge? Bomb your opponent by 1 turn? It makes Reno active a lot sooner. But you don't have to tempo this. Like, that's the point. But like, you don't have to tempo this. You don't have to play this on 3 to give them a mana. You can just play it when they are going to die. Leroy Jenkins budget version. And also, it's also very useful for combos because Leroy Jenkins costs a lot, and this costs 3. After one Emperor Tick is 2. It's like the cheapest charge card in the format right now. Knife Juggler now has 3 choose that. I'm not sure if that actually matters. Probably not. But you can get this from Call to Arms. I don't know if it makes the cut now. But if it does, it's a 3-2 now. So it's at least a minion with good stats for the cost. Leper Gnome is a 2-1 now. It by itself it doesn't matter because there's not a deck that plays Leper Gnome. Maybe Odd Hunter plays Leper Gnome. Or some dumb, Priest Resurrect combos play Leper Gnome. Those are very funny with like Baron Riven there and whatnot. So yeah, Leper Gnome is a fringe card that now it's a bit more playable because the damage output is bigger. If you don't kill it, it will deal 2 damage regardless. Yeah. And last but not least, the actual king is back. Undertaker, the most broken card in the game at some point, in the most broken deck in the game at some point, is back. Wow, I actually didn't expect them to do it. People were afraid of this card recently. Like, it's a super snowball card. This makes Hunter stronger, obviously, because Hunter is like the Death Rattle class. But Rally exists, and Priest has a fair share of Death Rattles. Maybe Paladin also, because they have call to arms. Undertaking is very interesting. It opens a whole new level of deck building. Because if you get to play this card, pretty much win the early board and maybe even the game. So yeah, Undertaker, incredible payoff card for deck rattle decks, small deck rattle decks. I'm looking forward to building with this card. Priest, Hunter, Paladin, whatever, even Warlock. So yeah, those were the Unnerf. I think overall they were pretty successful, like I said. The covers below is the only one that was iffy. People were not expecting them to go all the way back to the first iteration, but they didn't unnerf Sonya, so maybe it's okay. The fact that they dare to unnerf Arcane Golem, they dare to unnerf Undertaking and Call to Arms shows that they actually want to shake Wild forever. Because these changes are going to shake the meta forever. Going forward, deck building will never be the same for some of these classes. And I'm glad that the meta was kind of stagnant. So this will definitely shake up the way the meta works. Anyway, that was the review. I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun going forward. I'm actually hyped for all this. So yeah, see you on the next time.